Hey there everyone, welcome to my 100th video. I don't want to be quick to crown this as the ultimate endurance king in terms of battery standby and screen on time, but I think this might just be it. This here is the Oukitel K10, an upgrade to the Oukitel K1000 Pro from last year. Long gone are the soft keys, as on-screen buttons are becoming the thing. I really don't mind that, nor do I mind it having the fingerprint reader on the back. I like it there. Something else that is gone is the headphone jack, which is also a big trend which a lot of us users are against, but most manufacturers proceed to do it anyways. To get a bigger battery on the phone, Oukitel had to sacrifice slimness, and with a lot of phones trying to get paper thin, battery capacity on them has decreased, leaving a gap for other companies to satisfy the hunger for bigger batteries, and Oukitel has gone well beyond that to satisfy those users. The phone measures 13.5mm in thickness, but only weighs in at 289.5 grams. Aesthetically, the phone looks incredibly rugged, but that is only true for some parts of the phone. The back is composed of this soft rubbery plastic and leather looking material, mixed in with some metal frames on the side. The back where the soft plastic is feels nicer than the cold feel of aluminum. The screen sticks out a bit, so the supplied TPU case doesn't provide a lip around the screen, leaving it vulnerable. I got a crack on the lower right corner of the screen from the phone literally being blown off by the wind. It was a very windy day. The phone fell from 3 feet off the rocks that I had it on while I was doing some panning shots, so you really have to be careful when you're out and about. You wouldn't want to be dropping this at a store and breaking both the tile and the phone and having to pay for the store repairs. And you wouldn't want to drop this on your pinky toe because that would really hurt. The back, however, is more resilient, but you will get some tiny indentations in the soft plastic parts if you do end up dropping it on its back, but it won't be breaking or shattering. On the bottom of the phone is the mono-firing speaker, and it's located next to the USB Type-C port, which you will need to use the included cable because the port is deeper than the common depth of the USB Type-C port on every other phone. This means you will need to be carrying the included cable around with you until you find another cable with the same connection length, so that's kind of annoying. The massive 11,000 mAh battery can last you up to a week and a half with low usage. On a moderate usage, you can go up to 4 days with about 16 to 18 hours of on-screen time, and on heavy usage, you can expect anywhere from 1 to 2 days with about 11 to 13 hours of on-screen time with a lot of gaming done. This is where it gets even crazier. The phone supports 5V to 5A for some insanely quick charging, and the power brick that it comes with supplies that. On my testing, it took 2 hours and 24 minutes while the phone was off, and that's pretty insane considering that the phone didn't get hot at all while being rapidly charged, and the fingerprint reader didn't heat up at all on my unit. I tested that on the 4th day of owning it because that's how long it lasted me until it finally died. Then I tested it again on the 9th day, and that's pretty awesome, so props to Oukitel for that. If you use a normal charger that outputs 9V to 2A, expect it to be fully charged in about 4 to 5 hours, which is still not bad for such a large battery. Now going over to the display, the Oukitel K10 is featuring the trendy 18:9 6-inch 2160 by 1080p Full HD screen, which I'm a fan of. It feels more immersive and it makes it easier to hold the phone one-handed since it is taller and not much wider than a 5-inch display with the standard 16:9 screen. I can only imagine how uncomfortable it would be to hold it if it had the 16:9 display. That is not to say that this is comfortable to hold as it is, not by a long shot. No matter how you hold the phone one-handed, your hands will surely get tired shortly. So the fingerprint reader is kind of placed a bit too high, so for those with smaller hands it will feel like a stretch, but you can use that facial recognition if you like. The fingerprint reader is kind of slow on unlocking the phone, but it's consistent. The screen gets sufficiently bright to use outdoor, but indoors, the auto brightness keeps the display a bit too bright and it doesn't let me readjust it like on other phones when I have the auto brightness on. I can slide the brightness toggle down and it won't do a thing, so I keep that off. It could be just a bug that needs to be squished, so hopefully we see a fix for that in the coming updates. Another small issue that I have with the display is that it doesn't seem to have a great range of shades of white. The gray parts of the application look white and it's kind of hard to show on video, but here on the Gboard app you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So it felt really odd at first and it still does, and the mirror vision application for tweaking the display doesn't help. Now let's go ahead and touch up on a couple of features. The Oukitel K10 has NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication, which allows you to share files, pictures, web pages, and so on with anyone who has that on their phone by simply tapping each other's phone. Most importantly, this allows you to use Android Pay, so you can make payments using your phone and it works well. So it's really great to see that they included this feature in here. The gestures that are on the Oukitel Mix 2 are also on the Oukitel K10. You can draw on the display to launch certain applications which also work most of the time, but it has some slow animation and you do need to unlock it with either your face or your fingerprint after. It also has a 3-finger slide down to take a screenshot, and sliding up will open up the camera for a quick way to take a picture from any screen. It doesn't have the double press the power button to launch the camera in case you're curious. Double tapping the home button will turn off the screen, but it doesn't have the double tap to wake the screen when it's off, so that's a bummer. Alright, let's move on to the gaming and performance. Underneath the hood is the Helio P23, and 6GB of RAM with 64GB of internal storage. You can expand that up to 128GB, but it would take up the second nano SIM slot if you decide you need more storage. The phone is fast and fluid for day-to-day tasks like checking your email, social media, and watching videos. Multitasking is not a problem. You can go back and forth between apps without the phone choking. Gaming on here is also not a problem. It performs quite smoothly and you can game on it almost endlessly for the entire day if you want. The phone didn't heat up at all throughout my gaming sessions, so that is really good. So the sound quality is decent and it does get loud, but the sound starts getting distorted at around 90% and it sounds rumbly. So it's not the best for listening to music, but you can always pair up some Bluetooth speakers since there is no headphone jack on here. So the Oukitel K10 is running stock Android and I downloaded the action launcher to it. One thing that would have made the experience when interacting with the phone better would be a better vibration motor. Since the phone is very thick and it's really difficult to feel it, especially when typing on the keyboard, it is almost non-existent at times. Now let's go ahead and roll over to the cameras. The front houses two cameras which are used for the Face ID. I'm not entirely sure the second one works. The facial recognition software on here can be fooled with a picture of yourself. It would also unlock if you have your eyes closed, so yeah, not very secure. But pretty cool that they gave you an option to use that if you wanted to. It's quite quick at unlocking during the daytime, but it struggles quite often at night and low light. One of the things that sucks is that you can't have the fingerprint reader and the facial recognition enabled at the same time to sign in with. It would disable one or the other. I ended up sticking with the fingerprint reader, but it's nice to see that they included that in here. So the main front camera has an 8MP sensor and it has an LED flash for those selfies we want to capture in the dark, and it does reasonably well. The rear main camera has a 21MP sensor with an f2.8 aperture. The secondary one is a 5MP sensor that is supposed to help with providing some depth for blurring the background. And it can sense if you cover it up and it won't give you the blur effect, so it seems to be working. So the bokeh effect on here is controlled by a circle that you can resize and move around where you want it to focus on, like we've seen on many other budget phones. It doesn't truly outline your subject and it's nice to play around with circular objects though. So the interface is the same as on every other budget smartphone I have reviewed. You got your beauty mode, monochromatic mode, panorama, and the pro mode. So now let's go ahead and check out a few pictures that I took with the main camera. The quality is a hit or miss. At times you get this blue hue in the picture that depends on the angle that the light is hitting the lens, so sometimes you just have to retake the picture. The colors though are quite nice and the pictures look sharp with a lot of detail, but there's not very good dynamic range. For the video part, the quality is pretty good. You can record 1080p videos at 30 frames per second during the daytime, but it suffers from the frame drops at night like many other budget smartphones. You get down to 15 frames per second, which looks kinda choppy, so yeah, it's not very good at nighttime. So the camera is not its strongest point, so if you're looking for something that takes good pictures and at the same time gives you plenty of juice for 1 to 3 days, then I would recommend taking a look at the Ulefone Power 3 or the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus. If the camera isn't a big deal to you and if you don't mind carrying the extra thickness for the extra insanely big battery, then you will definitely enjoy being able to go on for more than a couple of days without charging. And this will be ideal for taking on camping trips or hiking, as it will last you the entire day and more. So with this, I end my review of the Oukitel K10. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content like this one, and I'll talk to you on the next video.